Welcome to my presentation, Unlocking the Secrets of Healthy Aging. My name is Terrence Shenfield, and I am the former educator of a major trauma center in Newark, New Jersey. I like to bring you this topic because there are many different articles out there, different supplements, different this, different that talk about how we can age gracefully. So I thought I'd put together some evidence on a product that's out there, and maybe you might be interested. Hello, everybody. I thought I'd give you a face to the voice. This is me. I'm Terrence Shenfield. I am the former education coordinator at a major trauma center in Newark, New Jersey. When I first started after college, I worked on Wall Street for 16 years. I got laid off, went back to school as a respiratory therapist, and because I was a little bit older and seasoned, they made me a manager, and I became an education coordinator for my department. So the basis of everything I know from medical science comes from being an educator. My role as an educator was pretty extensive. I really made a lot of good evidence-based practices within my department, and that sort of formulated exactly how I think about things. So, there's a lot of things coming out there that say this works, that works, but I believe, where's the evidence, where's the evidence, where's the evidence? So with that in mind, when I was getting close to retirement, I decided to go back to school and get my master's degree in complementary and alternative medicine. I did a focus with that in herbal medicine, essential oil, and nutrition. And I graduated the program, got my master's degree. And the reason I did this was because I was getting close to retirement. I want to live a long time. I want to live a healthy life. So I wanted to take whatever I could learn from school and apply it to my everyday existence. With that is why I created this company, Atacam Health and Wellness. I wanted to share some of the information that I've learned over the years, and I also want to do it from an evidence-based perspective. With that being said, all of my content is backed up by evidence. I originally started this company as a nurse provider of education, where I mostly did nursing education for continuous education from the Pennsylvania State Nursing Association. I decided to change that path, and now I am doing education for healthcare practitioners, but also for anyone who wants to live a healthy life. I can share with them some of the studies that I've read and some of the products that help us. So with that being said, I just thought I'd throw this little simple introduction to me. I went to Keyport, Rhode Island for the first time. I was at this beautiful beachfront restaurant, and you can see, I think I had a haddock wrap, which was delicious. So that's a little bit about me, and hope that you enjoy what we do. And remember, Atacam Health and Wellness is a website that will show you some evidence-based practices on supplements, essential oils, and so many other holistic things that can make us well. As you know, everyone is aging every day. And when you really think about it, the life expectancy of people is far greater than it was 30 years ago. And the reason for that is medical advancements, such as innovations in medicine, such as vaccines, antibiotics, treatments of chronic disease. Also, we know much more about nutrition. If we have a balanced diet with essential nutrients, these can overall help our body and help with related illnesses. Also, the public health system in America has gotten better, except for some places. We have clean water, we have sanitation, we have good hygiene practices. So public health has made a difference. Finally, we get into health awareness. Today we know that exercise, mental health, preventive care is really important. So the more we do to keep ourselves healthy, the better our life will be. I'm a perfect example of that. You know, I'm 72 at this point. I still go skiing. I go to the gym 3 days a week. Can I lose a few pounds? Yeah, but I'm overall pretty healthy. I take care of myself. Also, you know, technology has helped. There's really good ways of detecting disease through advanced diagnostic tools. So with all of this, we're living longer, we're living healthier, but it's not just the point of living longer. It's living a life that's full. And that's what I want to bring to you. I want to bring to you a little bit more information about that. Now let's talk about the role of supplements in longevity. We all have heard of omega-3 fatty acids, and there's been numerous studies showing that it supports heart and brain health and actually reduces the risk of cardiovascular disease. We all heard of vitamin D. You know, if you live up here in the north, which I live in eastern Pennsylvania, originally from New York, we don't get much sunshine. So vitamin D is really important because vitamin D strengthens your bones. It also boosts your immunity and also can reduce the risk of chronic diseases. Let's talk about antioxidants. Antioxidants are the cornerstone of longevity. I could not speak, I mean, there's so many things I could talk about when I think of antioxidants. CoQ10 for heart disease, for example. You know, they have shown that people with heart disease, as we get older, they have a reduced level of CoQ10 in their system, and they are at higher risk of heart disease. So when you think about antioxidants, how they work is they combat oxidative stress. Oxidative stress comes from free radicals, and free radicals can wreak havoc in your body. I believe that antioxidants leads to reducing oxidative stress in the body. If you reduce oxidative stress, you reduce the likelihood of chronic disease and, most importantly, aging. As we age, our DNA, which replicates cells in the body, that gives the blueprint of replication, that becomes impaired. And antioxidants can hold that off. So we're going to get more into that. Let's talk about probiotics. Probiotics is important for gut health. Gut health, when you really think about gut health, 70 to 80% of the immune system resides in the gut. The gut microbiome is so important, so you really need to keep a balance of prebiotics and probiotics in your system. Me personally, I take kefir every morning. Kefir is a liquid yogurt that has more bacteria in it than regular yogurt. So I do that every day. I have to say my gut health is pretty strong. My immune system is pretty strong. So these are some of the supplements that you should know about, and I'm going to talk more about that as we move forward. I want to introduce you to a product by Apparent Elementals called Longevity Duo. And basically what this is a combination of N-Acetylcysteine and glycine. These are two antioxidants, or actually they're antioxidant precursors. And I'm going to get more into it in the next slide. Basically, they are designed to prevent oxidative stress going on in your body. And more importantly, oxidative stress is related to aging. So this supplement is very beneficial to the body, and I'm going to talk more about this in the next slide so that you know more. I'm not going to spend much time on this, but I definitely need to spend a little bit of time. So I want to talk about aging and oxidative stress. So let's first start off with this. What is oxidative stress? Oxidative stress occurs when there's an imbalance between the production of free radicals in the body and also the ability of our bodies to produce antioxidants to fight them. So when we have oxidative stress, that means there are too many reactive oxygen species being generated in our body and not enough antioxidants. So what kind of impact does that have on the cell? Basically, it leads to mitochondrial dysfunction. And what do I mean by mitochondrial dysfunction? Mitochondrial dysfunction, think about the mitochondria. It's the powerhouse of the cell. It is the major source of free radicals or reactive oxygen species. When the mitochondria declines in its use, the production of free radicals is increased. And then obviously our body doesn't produce enough antioxidants to fight it. And when I talk about the impact on the cells, excessive reactive oxygen species or free radicals can damage cellular components such as the DNA, proteins, and lipids. So when you think about DNA, it actually causes mutations in the nucleus, and what happens is it leads to genomic instability, which is the hallmark of aging. So also it leads to what is known as protein and lipid damage. You know, when you think about proteins are the building blocks of our body. Actually, it's what builds muscle tissue, builds hormones, it builds everything. So oxidative stress can modify these proteins and lipids, and what it does, it disrupts cellular processes such as enzyme activity, membrane integrity, and also signaling pathways. Bad stuff. Finally, we get into cellular senescence. And basically what that means is these senescent cells will secrete inflammatory molecules, and this leads to tissue dysfunction and chronic inflammation. So all of these things link to age-related disease. So that is why it's so important to have a good balance of antioxidants in your body, because our bodies do produce these free radicals naturally, and they could also be produced by other means, but I'm not going to get into this lecture about exactly how it's produced, but just understand that oxidative stress, which is an increase in reactive oxygen species, damages all of these aspects of our body. Let's get into a little bit more detail exactly what is Longevity Duo. And as I mentioned, it is a combination of two amino acids. One is NAC, which basically stands for N-Acetylcysteine, and the other one is glycine. Both of these are amino acids, but let's focus first with the NAC. NAC is really important because it actually is derived from the amino acid L-cysteine. And why is it important? Because it has a very powerful antioxidant property to it. And how it does this is basically replenishes the levels of glutathione, which is one of the most powerful antioxidants the body has. So this can actually reduce oxidative stress in your cells, and actually this can reduce any kind of aging or disease processes in the body. The second most important thing about it is actually it offers liver support. Like many patients who have Tylenol poisoning are given this as a remedy to remove it. Thirdly, you've heard of this in respiratory health. It's actually a mucolytic. And what that means, it's used for COPD patients when it thins the secretions. Not used too much these days. There's a lot of evidence that it's not really working in that area. It also works for your mental health and neurological benefits. How does that work? Because it basically protects the neurons from oxidative damage. Finally, we get into mitochondrial health. The mitochondrial is the powerhouse of the cell. That's when ATP is produced in the mitochondria, and that's what gives you energy. A byproduct of mitochondria activity is free radicals. So this actually prevents the overproduction of those free radicals and actually improves cellular function. So that is some of the benefits of that one particular ingredient in Longevity Duo. And now I'm going to get into the second part right after this. The second amino acid is glycine. Now, glycine has a lot of good value too. One of the most important values is with collagen synthesis. You know, we all need collagen. Actually, collagen supports the skin, the joints, the connective tissue. There's a lot of products on the market talking about collagen supplements, but actually glycine is really important in this area. Also in antioxidant support, it works synergistically with NAC to boost glutathione levels. Actually, what that does, it reduces oxidative stress in the cell. It actually improves mitochondrial function. It also works as an anti-inflammatory. It reduces systemic inflammation by modulating the immune response. And finally, it works in cellular repair. It has enhanced detoxification and antioxidant properties, and it can repair cells that have been damaged. So all of these things work very well in the body, and that is why Longevity Duo, which is a combination of NAC and glycine, works very well in the body, and something that you might want to consider. Let's sum everything up as we talk about Longevity Duo. What are the benefits? Well, some of the major benefits is oxidative stress reduction, inflammation control, mitochondrial health, cellular repair, and actually a potential lifespan extension. So let's start off with the lifespan extension. There are many studies showing that reducing oxidative stress and inflammation may slow down the aging process and improve our health. The use of NAC and glycine as a powerful duo actually represents a very good way of managing these symptoms. Regarding oxidative stress, the boosting of glutathione levels really helps protect the cell from oxidative damage, and actually it improves inflammation that accelerates with aging. When we talk about mitochondrial health, I talked a little bit about that, and that is your powerhouse of the cell. And as oxidative injury occurs, the mitochondria doesn't work as well as it normally does, actually increases the levels of reactive oxygen species. So all of this results in cellular damage. So with the use of these two amino acids, when in combination, it can really work wonders for you. So it's a very good supplement to take, especially if you're getting a little bit up in the ages like myself, and you might want to be around a little bit longer, with other healthy lifestyle choices. This is not going to be the magic pill, but this is definitely something in the right direction. If you read about oxidative stress and its relation to aging, it's all over the internet. I'm not bringing you something that's not out there. The real benefits of NAC and glycine is the synergistic effect. The combination of these two amino acids really reduce oxidative stress to the body. So it supports liver health. It also supports sleep quality. And sleep is really important. You could do a whole lecture on sleep, but it actually enhances sleep quality and cognitive function. But the key point here, there's a synergistic effect of these two amino acids put together. A lot of times this supplement is sold with a combination of what is called Rejuvenate UA. And basically, that is another compound or supplement that acts synergistically with the NAC and glycine. And what happens is you actually have better way of targeting cellular health, and actually promotes the body's natural repair mechanism. The ingredients in Rejuvenate UA also enhance mitochondrial function. It actually reduces inflammation, and it combats oxidative stress. All of these factors lead to aging. So some of the key benefits of everything: it promotes kidney function, it reduces oxidative stress, it promotes healthy aging. And so the combination of Rejuvenate UA, NAC, and glycine it's a 1-2 punch regarding aging. So in summary, I wanted to tell you about some products that are out there that are evidence-based, that have been shown to offer good quality and the reason for the quality, which is basically dealing with oxidative stress. So they sell this duo combination of Longevity Duo and Rejuvenate UA. Both of these are sold by Aperon Essentials. This company has actually carved a niche for itself in wellness and lifestyle industry. It offers high quality products. It actually is committed to excellence, and it's really promoted to good sustainability and the future. And basically, each item is meticulously designed and manufactured with a focus on purity, functionality, and customer satisfaction. So you really are dealing with a very good company regarding that. And if you're interested, I have a link with this PowerPoint presentation that might be able to help you get that product. As I mentioned from the beginning, I believe in what kind of science backs up these trials. And I have a listing of 4 different studies, all from 2022 and above, that talks about the use of these amino acids and in combination of how they could benefit both aging and also the fact that you want to reduce oxidative stress, which is like the key point to aging, because oxidative stress leads to DNA degradation, which leads to functionality that our body can't do anymore, and that leads to old age. So I want to thank you guys, and if you're interested, take a look more, read all you want about it, but the product is available right here with this link.